Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for adults with migraine with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents, on average, 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Ask your doctor and visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
You are listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast, my favorite podcast to listen to on long flights across the galaxy.
This is the way.
We're wanted men. Welcome to episode 222 of the Smugglers Galaxy podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. We're recording on Monday night because we had a crazy weekend, and we'll have another crazy weekend next weekend, but I think we're all right. Jason, how are you?
I'm here.
Yes?
Yes, it was a day, so I got to turn it around for this episode. We could have called it 2 to the third power.
What good would that have done?
It would be 222. Episode 222.
Oh, 2 to the third power. Look at you. Yeah, I about had a day myself. I was in Rome at 11, and they wanted to send me to Aiken, South Carolina, and I called them, and I was like, it's going to be 2:30 before I get there, and then another like 4 hours home.
And they said so.
Huh?
And they said so. Our
I was like, I'm not doing it. Huh? But then I get to do it tomorrow because the call that I was at in Rome called back. So yay! I don't know what I could, what's going on, but we'll see. So tomorrow will be a fun day.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, it's always fun. Always fun. How was your company Christmas party?
It was fun. I sang a bunch of karaoke songs. I sang what did I sing? I know I did New York, of course. But I didn't sing that at the last holiday party because I try to be modest, but I do it so well that everybody knows that's my song. So
right.
I try not to sing it. I also sang Taylor Swift Love Story. I sang that one. Blue Christmas. And I also rickrolled. I did Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh, look at you.
But I was just goofing around, and I was just like, I was the first person to sing. So it was just my wife and I in the room. And there's some notes of that song that I can't sing, which is kind of surprising because he's such a deep voice. There are no strangers to love. But yeah, it was fun. I didn't win anything because we do raffles. But it's all right. I was part of the PPC, so everything went off really well. And it was just very busy. It was an all-day affair, Saturday, Friday night, and then Sunday we're just recovering from all of that. But
wait, you have a committee to plan parties? So these people have just been sitting here for hours planning a party?
Yeah. You're just sitting around doing nothing, planning parties. That's what we do. That's how we do.
That's the I'm in the Michael Scott Paper Company rewatch phase of my office. So yes.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Don't sound so excited.
I said that's cool.
Yeah. So did you get anything fun this week?
I can't remember if I talked about this, but I did find the pirate Brutus from Skeleton Crew.
Which is the werewolf?
Yeah, he's the wolf guy. And then I went to Second Chance and I bought an Obi-Wan Kenobi Black Series figure. And I popped off the head of Brutus and Obi-Wan and did a body swap. So now I have Lax Servac from the Cantina,
Awesome.
which I have to admit, it was very difficult to take that figure apart because that is a really good, really well done Black Series figure, that Brutus.
Mhm.
It's hefty and he's got lots of guns and he's just really well sculpted and it's a good figure, I have to admit.
Awesome. Yeah, they
But
told me I'd gone by Second Chance myself because I went to there was a powder spring swap, and then there was our buddy Dutch had the Conyers toy show on Saturday. So there were two toy shows. Um, the only thing I think Powder Springs was a little bit better. They had different vendors, but like the same 10 or 15 vendors that are at everything were at both shows.
yeah,
Um, and our buddy Matt from Nerd U was there, so I hadn't seen him in a minute. So that was nice to see Matt. And at Conyers, he was at Conyers.
okay.
But everybody was kind of griping. He had changed the hours from like 10 to 3 or 4, from like 9 to 3. So people were kind of like, the crowd was a little off for Sunday. And
Oh,
I think with with the Powder Spring show, I think there's nothing wrong with the Powder Spring show, and it's doing a lot of good for the community, but I think it's also doing a lot of bad for the community because we're oversaturated in Atlanta, because it's hard for somebody to do a show. You've got to just balance things. You got to kind of know what's going on before you do a show, especially with that Powder Springs show.
yeah.
You don't want to try to interfere with that because that's a $20 a table and a free show to get into. It's hard to compete with.
And
I
just to clarify real quick for those that are not familiar with the show, it's more like a pop-up and it's once every other month in a parking lot. So the weather's always a factor. It's a wild card because you never know who's going to show up,
Right.
and you have to register in advance. So it's not like a major toy show, but it's a pretty significant show here.
Yes.
So continue,
They'll have
sorry.
anywhere from, I mean, it started off with 10 or 15, maybe 20 vendors, and now I think they're hitting 50 to 60 vendors on a good
Right,
day.
right.
Um, this weekend, everybody, you could tell, we're ready for cold weather, but once you got out and in the sun, it wasn't that bad.
Hmm.
So that was nice. I didn't find anything for myself, but there again, I'm a um finite, very finite where what I'm trying to buy. I was showing Mandy some ET stuff, and she had seen a music box glowworm. So I ended up buying her a bunch of glowworm stuff that she found, and then some ET stuff she didn't know about, which is always fun. Um, but after the show, I had been trying to. I don't know if I even told you this, but I'm getting out of Mythics. Did I tell you?
No, I didn't know this. No.
So what happened was, when I got the new shelf, I looked at my Mythics, and you just see the amount of space they're taking up, and then you start doing the math and figuring out how much they're worth. And you're like, I got a lot of money and a lot of space tied up into these things that aren't doing, they're still cool, but they're not nostalgic. There's nothing, unless they're just cool. Um, so I walked around Saturday and Sunday with the backpack on my full of Mythic Legions, and I've made a little bit of money. Probably made about half my money back. So and I still got a bunch left. But the problem with them is, versus 2 years ago where they're hard to get, now everybody's selling them, so they're a lot easier to get. So they're retaining their value is staying relatively low. They're
Mhm.
still, people can buy the stuff at retail, so why are they going to pay retail prices from a used guy?
Right.
So they're wanting to pay a lot less than retail, and I'm just having some trouble moving them. Because now everything else that I've got is common stuff, and nobody's really interested unless they want to do a bulk sale, and it kind of, I don't want to short sell them. I'm getting close, but I'd still would like to make a little bit of money.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. Um, I did. Um, so there was some new Mulder and Scully Dana Scully and Fox Mulder Pops came out.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're Amazon exclusive or not, but when I'd ordered them, they had they kind of disappeared. But Amazon are like, hey, we don't know what's going on, so you got to approve this order. Well, the Dana Scully one showed up like 2 days ago, just on my front porch. Here you go. So I don't know where the Fox Mulder one is or if I'm going to get it or whatever. And then
He was abducted.
Huh? He's
abducted.
Yeah. So I finally pulled the trigger also on the symbiote Black Spider-Man from Secret Wars that Second Chance had.
Okay.
That I've been wanting. I've been drooling over for about a year. And I finally went, let's make a deal. So we made a deal on Sunday. And I have it in my collection now. So yay.
Chance was ready to let me just walk out with that Kenobi. And I was like, no, I support my local economy. I'm paying. Maybe
he
I'm
probably
the dumb
had it
one,
forever. Huh?
Yeah, he had like 4 of them in the case.
Yeah, he was just like, dude, just take it.
But I support my local economy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think I picked anything else up too exciting. Yeah, just waiting for Christmas.
I got a notification that the Armada version of the Snowspeeder shipped, which I thought I canceled all that stuff because I've just been getting the box exclusives now.
Uh-huh.
Why bother going to the store and finding nothing? Though I did find, when I was talking to Chance, Kelly found one of the Ahsoka chases. It's a Merrick and that little World War II inspired jet fighter.
Yeah.
He found that, like, it didn't have a sticker. He found that at a Target, I think our Woodstock Target. So
probably because it didn't have a sticker, so nobody bothered with it.
Yeah, but I've kind of given up searching for that stuff, especially when I can just buy the box set once a month and save my gas, save my troubles.
Yeah, I was talking to Kelly because he had bought the latest boxed edition or whatever from them. And then he's having the same we're having the same conversation that you and I have had over those ships, where it's like, okay, what Jazz was, what are you doing? How much are you holding? How much are you not putting out? And then he said, as he went to check out, they were like, here, buy this. And it was one of the sets that was sold out in minutes, and he was able to buy it.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy. So I think I saw some. It was one of the little box ones, right?
I don't know which
boxes.
One. No, I think it was I don't know if it was a blind box or like another wave, one of the other waves. I don't remember what he said, but it was something that had sold out that all of a sudden it was back in stock.
Wow. Well, he got lucky.
Yeah.
I just got the regular light class, the ones with the E-wings.
Yeah, because that's the one he had just bought. And then as he was buying it, I think it was the wave before that, they were like, hey, do you want this?
See, that one I missed because of a meeting. So at some point I need to track down those 2 exclusives. There was the Fisto, maybe? Starfighter? I don't remember. Anyways, must not be important to get if I can't remember the vehicle.
Yeah, isn't it fun when you can't remember what you bought or what you were chasing?
Yeah, but I did buy that, and then like I said, I've got the Amazon, I don't know if it's an exclusive, but the Armada edition of the Snowspeeder coming. So it was just kind of a quiet week. I was tied up with getting stuff ready for the Winter Social this weekend, and then also the holiday party for my company. So it was just, there was not a lot of hunting going on. It was very quiet.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, with this new job, I haven't made the time to I haven't taken the opportunities to go to Walmart because I normally will pass a Walmart and running late, or just don't feel like getting home that much later, or just I don't feel like stopping. Oh, I did find I just remembered I was at a Walmart today. I had to go buy wiper blades for my truck, for my work truck, and so I checked out the toy section, and they had the Dorbs, I guess they're called. They did like an Ewok set, and they did a dark side set. They had marked the Ewok set down to like $8. So I'd kind of been watching it. I didn't want to pick my
those
wife.
Little funky looking ones.
Yeah, I think they're these things. I've got a Thrawn. I think they're these.
Yeah. Okay.
They
got big heads, small bodies, large eyes. They're cutesy.
Yeah.
Very demure, very cutesy.
Right. Sort of, I think they're a ripoff of Pops, but I've been watching the Ewok one, and it had been marked down to $8. So I picked that up for my wife. And then I checked the Hot Wheels because they did a Gremlin. They did the Hot Wheels cars that they're very cartoonish with the characters in them. They did a DeLorean with Marty, and then they did a pink Corvette with Gizmo in it. And I found both of those. I did not find the Chase Marty because they did make a Chase with Marty in the radiation suit. I have to find that one.
As Darth Vader from the planet
As Darth
Vulcan.
Vader. Yes. So as soon as I find that, I'll be happy. But I've seen people try to sell it in the Facebook groups for like $40. And it's like, dude, it's not worth $40. I may give you 10 just so I don't have to chase it. But I know because they did Jango Fett as a chase on those. And if you looked enough, you could find them. They weren't that rare. Like maybe every other Target or every fourth or third or fourth Target you went into, they had it.
It's like people trying to sell that Darth Vader ornament. The one where he's carded.
Yeah.
Can you see that right there? It's right there.
Yes.
He's carded. They're trying to sell it for $40 on the Facebook groups. And I'm like, I can just go to Amazon or Hallmark and pull it up for $20 and have a great day.
Yeah, they did. Did you see that Hallmark released the Sand Trooper?
Yes, for their club, but you have to sign up for their club. Because at first I was cussing myself because I'm like, dang it, they're selling it for $20. But if you're not part of their Hallmark Ornament Club, which is an additional $40 or $50,
yeah,
like it's a wash. So I don't feel too bad.
Yeah, they hit me up for that every year, and I'm like, I don't like all your ornaments. I'm not going to spend that because I'm not going to buy. I don't need the exclusives, the normal exclusives.
Right.
If it was Star Wars stuff, we talk, but not just, I don't need a Santa Claus.
Yeah, you sit down with Mr. Hallmark. Listen, sir, I don't need this. Back down, Mr. Hallmark, or
Mr.
Amy,
Hallmark.
or Emily, or whoever's name is on the top of the Hallmark store.
Right.
Amy's Hallmark. Listen to me, Miss Amy Hallmark.
Yeah, I think it's Gretchen's now. It used to be Amy's, but Gretchen bought Amy out.
What do you keep looking at up there?
I keep
Jesus
turning my
coming or
fan on
something?
because it was hot. You know how you go, because this time of year, you're either hot or cold. You're never really comfortable. And I had turned my fan back on and it's on high. And I don't want it on high. So then I thought I had turned it down, but it turned off.
Oh.
So that's what I keep doing. So now it's on high. So I'm going to turn it down one more.
One more time. Simmer down. Simmer down now.
And then maybe it'll stay.
I get so frustrated this time of year because it's hot up until early November.
Yeah.
And then there's no in between. There's like a week maybe where it's 60 and then it's just like 20 degrees. And I'm like,
that's what we've been in Georgia lately. And it's horrible.
What's going on? Why can't we have something in between? Why does it just swing so violently back and forth and then hang there? I got a new deck and I can't enjoy it because it's freezing out there. It's freaking freezing, Mr. Bigglesworth.
Yeah, I had a cigar the other night for the first time in like 2 weeks, and I'd smoked about 75% of it, and I gave up, and I was just like, I hadn't had a cigar in like 2 weeks, and Mandy was just, well, why? Because it's been like 30 degrees outside.
Right. It's freaking freezing.
Oh, and guess what? We had to buy a freaking microwave, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Mandy, I'm at the show Saturday. Mandy texted me. I broke the microwave. So like the door came apart on the microwave.
Oh.
And so she was like, well, maybe we can fix it. So I start looking at parts, and the parts are just as expensive as a microwave. They're $150, $200 for the parts to fix it. So I'm like, we're just going to need a microwave. So then we go to Home Depot, don't like what we see. So we go to Lowe's, and I'm like, check the scratch and dent section, or, the open box or whatever. And there's a Bosch microwave sitting there. It's $1,000 microwave.
Right.
And it's marked down to $5,000. And so we talked.
Wow.
Yeah. It was $500.
50%.
But so I'm like, I don't care what this looks like as long as it matches. It's a Bosch. We're gonna try to buy it. So then we asked the guy, and he kind of is giving us the whole him and the her and then he gets the man. He goes, I can get the manager for you. So he gets the manager, and she marks it down to $250, $1,000 microwave.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal. Thank you for listening to Appliance Galaxy.
So then we had to hang it. Me and Mandy spent like 2 hours hanging it, and we're like, we didn't kill each other. Yay.
Yeah, Harrison pulled the door handle off of our microwave, but we've just been limping by. The microwave still works. Who needs a handle?
Right. I mean, we were well. What had happened? What had happened was, I guess that a lot of the structure of the door gave way too.
Mm.
So it was kind of flopping around, and I'm like, I don't trust this to keep all the microwaves out. Either.
Yeah, that really hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah, well, you got Christmas and a new computer you got to buy, so and
Yeah,
more Star Wars.
Eventually. And alcohol for the people coming over this weekend.
You didn't have to buy everybody alcohol, man.
I did. I bought every person a bottle of alcohol that they're expected to drink before they leave.
That would be awesome. We'd be like the New York crew.
You can't leave. Sit down, sir. You still have a fifth of that bottle left.
Come on, man. I bought it just for you. Let's go.
No. Drink it up. Drink it up. You can't get out that door. You have to give me your keys until you're drunk.
Everybody's Ubering home from Jason's.
Yeah.
You got to watch when you tell somebody to put your keys in a fishbowl, man. They're going to expect something else.
I didn't say fishbowl. No. It's not that kind of party. Not that kind of party. You can just back yourself up and leave if you're going to think that's happening here.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing too else is too excited's happening. There's a new show out, but I know we got and there's news.
There's breaking news.
There's drinking news?
Breaking
news, yes.
Now you're just hearing what you want to hear.
It was like drinking news.
Drinking news, yes, you can make me a waffle. That's not what I said. Jeremy Allen White has joined. I thought this was a joke at first. Like, I thought it was just a prank until Variety reported it. That Jeremy Allen White from TV shows such as The Bear, has joined Mandalorian and Grogu, playing the voice of Jabba the Hutt's son, Rada the Hutt, who we saw in the Clone Wars, Stinky. We don't know what happened to him. Obviously, he doesn't appear in the original trilogy.
He became a chef.
Became a bear of a chef.
Right.
So I don't know if he's going to be speaking basic. I don't think he's going to lower his voice and be like, Bruta, Bruta. Oh,
well, he had that was the other one that had the other Jabba that had the
was
really
was it Zemo? The South,
was he
the
purple?
Louisiana one that kind of.
Oh yeah.
Do anything around here. He got knocked away by Snice Noodles, right?
Dude, I don't remember.
I think I need to rewatch the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
it's been too long.
Do it.
But so I guess the big news there is that the Hutts are back.
Yay!
And then this what?
No, give me some Hutts.
Yeah. And then this was kind of expected. We knew that there was news coming because Steve Evans, Uncle Stevie, was over in the UK for Farthest From, which is a show over in the UK. And we knew that he was making an announcement about Retro Collection. And we'll get into this in a future episode. But I'll just go over it briefly here. Coming soon to a galaxy near you, you can get the Rebel Fleet Trooper, which is the characters from the 10 of 4 right at the start of A New Hope. The Sand Trooper, Walrus Man, Luke Skywalker on Yavin Base with the medal, Han Solo, the Imperial Stormtrooper outfit. So, and then Dr. Evazan. So this is a solid pack. This is exactly what I've been looking for in the Retro Collection. They're enhancing the Kenner stuff.
Right.
Most people, I don't say most people because I don't have it. Luke Skywalker in the Stormtrooper outfit. To complement that, Kenner made their version in the early 90s, but it doesn't fit the aesthetic of the original 70s.
Right.
So you'll have those two together, and hopefully if they do it right, you can't even tell that one was made 40 years after the other.
Yeah, I know that Han Solo is a figure that people have been really looking forward to.
Yeah. So I think that's smart. Dr. Evazan, he'll go with the Walrus Man. Ponda Baba will go really well. The only question is, how do you do that? Is it you go screen accurate, or do you lean into what they did in the 70s and just make jumpsuits?
I think they have to do the 70s if they were going to do Retro Collection.
Sand Trooper should be easy. You just sculpt the pauldron. The Sand Trooper, you can't turn his head, so you can't pop the pauldron off.
Right.
So it'll just have to be sculpted into the body, but they can reuse molds for the legs and hands, which I think is smart. Rebel Fleet Trooper, another smart one, especially since you've got the play set for the 10 of 4. You know, you can buy a couple of these and throw them up and have a scene there. And then finally, Walrus Man. So the question is, do they update Walrus Man? Because what they did with the Black Series for that Yavin Luke is they just reused the upper body and transformed him into Walrus Man, Ponda Baba. It's the same torso because they've got the same jacket. So you use the Luke Skywalker from the Yavin base retro collection figure and update Walrus Man.
Mm-hmm.
There was a photo that came out today, and I'm not exactly sure what the source is, if it's somebody's custom, but it looks like the vintage Walrus Man with a puffer vest, kind of like what Marty McFly wears, and then a belt with a blaster hanging out from the side of it. And I don't know if that's custom or if that's what they plan on doing, which I guess it's a little new and a little old. Maybe that's what they were going for rather than doing everything old or everything new, excuse me.
I mean, that if they want to, that would be cool. I just saw the picture and now I can't find it, the one you were talking about. And somebody said it looked life size. So people, I don't know if they were assuming it was a 3D print, like the big Boba Fett, the life size vintage Boba Fett.
I get that. The only thing is you don't see the head and you don't see the bottom of the feet. So someone could be pinching the feet and holding it up for the camera. And depending on the camera, if there's a telephotic lens, you can just smash everything together to make it look like it's 6 feet tall when it's actually 3.5 inches.
Right. No, I'm happy. I'm excited for these because these are figures that I think people have been waiting on since they announced the retro collection. And I think everybody was like, okay, if you want to do, let's make the first 12 and then move on. Start, because people that want the first 12 that can't afford it, you can buy a retro line and at least have a placeholder till you can afford the thousands of dollars that it costs for a real 12 back. And now it's like, let's move on to the stuff that you never made.
The only challenge is that Hasbro's been releasing 6 figures at a time and they've been releasing them in a box set.
Right.
And so I tend to believe that this will be released in a box set, but that Rebel Fleet Trooper and the Sand Trooper could be a army builder.
Right.
And so those should be released separately or maybe as their own separate case so people can buy multiples.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the first set of retro, like the first 6. And didn't it go down to like $30 or $40 or like dirt cheap?
$30.
And I know somebody had one, I think had a set at the Powder Springs for like the same price for $40-$50 for way cheaper than what it was originally.
Yeah.
Are you going to talk about the stickers? Did you see the stickers?
Yeah, they're low tack.
Yeah.
So you can pull them right off.
Which I think is a good improvement. I had commented on his Facebook with his post, his Instagram post. I'm like, thank you. I can't wait to see until all your improvements take shape.
Yeah. And so if you're looking to peel those stickers off, that should be real easy to do now.
Yeah.
And it still have the bead around the side of the card where it looks like it's been cut up and scratched.
I know people don't like that, but I truly think there needs to be a watermark or something on those cards to help people not get ripped off.
Yeah. The Walrus Man, in my opinion, it has the worst Photoshop job of any of the vintage figures. I mean, it doesn't even look like it's from the movie. It's just so airbrushed. But I don't know if they can change that. They've kind of got to keep it, but at the same time, with today's technology, they can pull something new.
Yeah, let them redo the card. Let them redo the back.
I definitely hope they do something about Han Solo and the Stormtrooper because what they did for the vintage collection is so photoshopped, it doesn't even look good.
Really?
Yeah. I'll have to show it to you next time you're over, but I'm not a fan of that one. That was a Target exclusive.
Okay. Yeah. So they released them on a card back because I thought they was only a Kellogg thing.
It was originally the Kellogg in the early 90s. But for the vintage collection, they did redo him. It was like I said, Target exclusive, and it's got a really bad Photoshop job on it.
Awesome. No, I'm looking forward to I think Steve is finally putting things in the right direction.
Yeah.
So way to go, Steve.
Hopefully with Skeleton Crew, they can carry the momentum and rebuild the pieces that have fallen over when the ship was dropped. What am I saying? Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. I'm using too many metaphors here.
Yes.
Shut me down.
No, I like letting you run, man. Go with
the
it,
cookie
Jason.
started to crumble and lightning was in the bottle and
I'm hoping Skeleton Crew brings it back around.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So Manny Jacinto played the stranger in The Acolyte. He recently talked to Collider, and they asked him about the connection between Quimir and Plagueis.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Oh man, that's a tough question. They're not connected. They're definitely not. Oh man, how do I answer that? What time is it?" Laughs. There are definitely a lot of different theories, like who is he? Because we never actually know his true identity. Is Quimir's name actually Quimir?
Uh-huh.
We definitely wanted to explore it, but that doesn't make sense because Plagueis is watching him. So did Plagueis come and spy? He goes on and says that there was definitely going to be more Plagueis in the second, or if not, the third seasons of the show. But I just can't say more because we could come back. I don't want to spoil anything or give anybody false hope, but I would just say that there was a lot more to explore for sure.
I love how it went second or third season of a show that's been canceled.
Yeah, but maybe they're going to do something. Like, can we get a cheap? I don't mean cheap, but like a $20 million Star Wars Disney Plus movie.
Yeah.
We don't need theatrical stuff, especially for something like this. When you spent what was it, $200 million? It was an insane amount of money for the show. And then I heard today, I don't know if this is true or not, but Kathleen Kennedy was the thing that changed a lot of the plot. And that's the reason why it feels disjointed and the pacing's off a little bit. Who knows? We'll never find out because everybody signs an NDA and everybody just has to play nice and say, "No, it was fun. We had a great time. It's a shame. It's a shame.
It's a shame that we didn't do a good enough job."
That's why I thought it was refreshing when Tony Gilroy said something like, "Yeah, my NDA says I can't talk about that."
Yeah. Just
about
say
Rogue
it.
One. About Rogue One, he can't talk about it.
So he still can't talk about Rogue One?
No, he can't talk about what happened behind the scenes.
Wow. Have you heard the rumor about what the Kenobi movie was supposed to be before they?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something we talked about or not.
No, but it's just a rumor, and they could bring it back for a second season. There's a lot of talk about that right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But it was more about Luke than Leia.
Right, yeah, because Luke was going to be the focus, not Leia.
Which would make sense. I don't go either way, like, oh no, it should have been Luke. It makes more sense as Luke.
Right.
But I don't know.
No, I mean, I'll get into it. I'll throw it out there real quick, and we're not going to get into it. But basically, the whole premise of it was Kenobi was going to steal Luke from Uncle at 4 years old and raise him as his own. And then the whole movie, the whole trilogy was the Force showing him not to do it and to let him grow up. That's the quick synopsis of it.
Yeah.
So it should have been, from what I heard, it was going to be an awesome trilogy.
A couple of weeks ago, Steve Evans said that there weren't going to be any more pipeline reveals. And then this week they did reveal that SM-33 will be coming to the Black Series in 2025. So they did pipeline something.
And then he pipelined all that other stuff.
What other stuff?
All the stuff, the vintage collection, not vintage, retro collection.
I guess technically that's pipeline because we didn't see the figure.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Was that like an official panel that he did, or was it just sort of, I'm having a panel and I'm going to throw some stuff out there?
I think maybe that part, I think he's probably, I don't know. I shouldn't speculate. I don't think it was a full panel about the Hasbro reveals. Right. It might have been about him and his career because that's where he comes from, the UK.
It did look like he had done like a quick 30-second or 10-second video of it, and it did feel like it covered a lot more stuff than just Star Wars.
Yeah. And then Black Series Jedi Master Kelnaka for $33.99. That was revealed, but that leaked a while ago. We saw that figure without the head in Vintage Collection, so I knew it was coming in Black Series. So it's right around the corner. And then we got an email a couple weeks ago. We forgot to mention that last week.
Right.
So thank you, Lori, for sending us an email. We were talking about how Hasbro, in their books, they called Ahsoka. Let me step back. 12 steps ahead of myself. I'm still thinking of all the different metaphors that I'm using wrong. So no, Ahsoka cuts herself off from the Force after what happened in the Clone Wars, and then she opens herself up to the Force, and she attracts a Inquisitor. In the book, it was the fifth brother, and then in the show, it's the sixth brother. Tales of the Jedi. They're basically the same story. I mean, yeah, maybe it happened twice to the same person, but it's essentially the same plot told twice. And so he commented on that. He said he listened to the show a couple times. Something in there really struck a chord with him. For the past 15 years or so, he's been working in storytelling, narrative, and intellectual property development for a while. A lot of the work he's done has been in partnership with writers and other creators who might be very enthusiastic about the IP that they're working on, but it could be their first time actually getting into it as a creator rather than a fan. And sometimes he's even guided folks who knew absolutely nothing about an IP and needed a helping hand and a friendly face to help them land their ideas within it. He wasn't familiar with the inconsistency I brought up, but it's a great example of ways in which that an IP owner not keeping a firm grip on their own property can lead to confusion or clashes between different story products. He's been the lore expert in many rooms when projects are being put together, all the way through to the final edit, and he knows too well how a seemingly tiny and insignificant mistake can leave fans feeling like the creators don't know what they're doing. And let me tell you, that feeling really sucks.
Right.
I'm lucky that my brain is cursed to remember huge amounts of lore trivia, but I've often had to find new opportunities to explain old story mistakes. It happens for sure. So he says, here's the thing that bothers him even more. Sometimes the expert in the room will raise something like, oh, we already used that name for something else, or that sequence of events doesn't quite work because of this other story. And in spite of that, someone will, in a decision-making position, might say something like, I don't understand why that's a problem. Isn't this a new idea? Isn't this new idea cooler? Let's just do it anyways. Which might be what happened here, but it's the same story, so you can't really say one is cooler than the other. I mean, Filoni might have said, and Filoni was involved with the book, but he might have said, let me just tell the story myself the way that I see it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they completely ignored the whole thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He finishes, it's really hard at times working with IP because quite simply you have incrementally less freedom to do whatever you want as time goes on and more stories are told, to the point where killing off the whole expanded universe is considered a better option than trying to honor it, which is exactly what they did to free themselves up to tell stories. So thank you, Lori. We really appreciate you listening and sending that email, and you're the subject matter expert there. So I really appreciate the perspective, because, you know, I've heard that even George R.R. Martin, as he writes the Game of Thrones stories, has somebody who sits in the background and says, nope, you can't do that because this has happened in this other chapter 3 books ago. And when you're dealing with thousands of pages, there's just the chance that something might happen,
right,
where you cross your streams. That another metaphor.
You don't want to cross the streams. Yeah, no, it was a good email. So yeah, definitely it gives credence to have somebody to just say, I like this better, we're just going to go with it, and f what you say, you know.
Yeah.
So what happens.
That's all the news that I have. We can talk about Skeleton Crew, but I will warn you, we will be talking spoilers. So if you haven't listened, I hope you enjoyed the past 45 minutes. Come back to us when you're done.
Oh, I do have one more thing before you don't disappear yet. I was talking to Matt Matt's got a guy helping him named Keaton. And Matt goes, "Oh yeah, he even has a pod. You were talking, just talking about stuff and talking about me." And then Matt's like, "Yeah, this guy's got a podcast." And he's like, "Oh yeah, really? What is it?" And then I go, "Smugglers Galaxy." And he's like, "That's you guys?" I said, "You didn't recognize my voice?" So I'm like, "Are you faking? Are you real?" Or so if
All
Keaton,
froze
if you're
over.
listening,
Someone didn't recognize your voice.
right?
So Keaton, hi.
You're right. Hi, Keaton, if
Hi,
you're really
Keaton.
listening. Hi.
A lot of people think we're talking to them, but we're really talking about you.
All right. So yeah, it was kind of fun. He was yeah. It was cool. It was cool reconnecting to some of our guys.
Yeah.
Some of the guys I hadn't seen in a minute.
Yeah.
Yesterday or whatever. Anywho.
So let's talk Skeleton Crew. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently instead of a beat by beat breakdown of the episode. I thought I would just do summaries.
All right.
And then we can just there's a couple talking points that I thought we can go over. Changing format here. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, dude. It's all good.
So episode
we hadn't
1
done a beat by beat breakdown in a long time.
No, we usually save it for Mandalorian. We didn't even do that with Andor, but we might do that this time around because Andor is such a solid show. Oh, that's the other thing I did pick up. Mandalorian season 3 on 4K.
Nice.
I got that at Walmart. Anyways, episode 1 of the Skeleton Crew. This could be a real adventure. The show starts with a pirate raid and an introduction to Captain Silvo. When these pirates break into the ship's vault, they find a single credit. The pirate crew call for mutiny. At Attin, Wim and Neil prepare for an exam that'll set up their careers for the rest of their lives. Fern and KB spend their time running around town on their bike. She needs power converters to race some guy whose name is an Easter egg for Harrison Ford's character in American Graffiti.
That's where it was. Okay. Sorry, I had heard that was that whole scene was an Easter egg to American Graffiti, and I went back and watched some of his scenes, and I can never put two and two together.
There's also a scene where Fern is racing around on her bike, and there's a diner.
Uh-huh.
And it's in Arabesh, but it does say Mel's. And Mel's Diner is from American Graffiti, which you can go visit at Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida.
That's where that's from. Okay.
Yeah. All the things are being connected right now for Glenn.
Yes.
So Wim misses his school bus one morning and takes a shortcut, accidentally uncovering a ship, which he thought was a Jedi temple. Wim and Neil go to inspect the temple where Fern and KB are lurking. They break into the ship, get locked in, turn the power on, blast out into space, all while Wendell, his Wim's father, watches.
Yeah.
So that's episode 1. And then luckily they did show us episode 2. I was sold on the first one, so they really didn't need to do this, but I appreciate it because I wanted to see more immediately. Episode 2 is called Way Out Past the Barrier. The kids wake up SM-33, which is a droid on the ship, the only thing left on the ship. There's a lot of skeletons. They learn that their planet, At Attin, isn't on any map, and they can't make their way home. They just blasted off into hyperspace, so they're kind of lost.
Jason, don't you mean At Attin?
They go to a port, and they split up. Wim and Neil use Wim's lunch money for a snack, and they learn that their money is extremely valuable. They learn that Attin is also a mythical planet with hidden treasure. The pirates try to enslave the children, but SM-33 comes to their rescue shortly before getting gunned down. Brutus, the pirate wolf guy, throws the kids into a brig where they meet Jod-Na Nawwood, who seems to be force sensitive and gets the key to unlock the cell that they're all contained in. And that's where the episode ends.
Yes. So where do you want to talk? What do you want to talk about first?
First, overall impressions of the first 2 episodes.
I really dug it, and I truly think that they have finally hit a pretty decent home run. I don't think it's I don't want to call it a grand slam yet, but I think they're finally, or at least hitting stuff out the ballpark. Because I think it was the perfect mix of, I used to do that when I was a kid. You got to watch kids in Star Wars playing Star Wars, which brought back memories of my childhood, which I thought was incredible.
Yeah.
Which made it a lot more fun and which made Star Wars more real.
Yep. I dug the kids. I dug their characters. They're all distinct. They all felt like kids. They didn't feel like kids written by adults. They just felt like kids trying to get by. And I thought Neil was the perfect best friend someone can ask for, who was just dedicated to the even point where it's just like, should I skip?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. He was just
I want to fail. He wanted to fail the test so that he could stay in the grade with him.
Yes, that's right. I could fail too. And so I just thought it was really well done. At first, I was afraid of Fern being a little too grown up with rebellion, meaning like she's more 18 with her attitude instead of 12.
Right.
But I thought it worked, and I really enjoyed it. The one that I'm not too familiar with is KB. She really hasn't really had much to shine with her character.
But she plays deadpan perfectly.
Yeah.
She is like the perfect deadpan. I'm still trying to figure out what the deal is with her with the goggles. It doesn't seem to. It's not like the guy from Star Trek that had to have him to see. It's like it's maybe
Geordi.
Geordi. Okay, she doesn't need him to see, but I think it enhances stuff for her. Is it like a game thing? And I mean, obviously, she can use it to change her voice. But is it helping with everything else? Does she have disabilities that she needs that to help her with? But I thought the kids were playing good. I did talk to Kelly a little bit, and I think Chance said that he wishes the kids were a little bit older, but Kelly said they have to be this age because they're still innocent. So everything they're seeing for the first time. So if they're 17, 18, 19 years old, you're losing that sense of wonder that you're getting with the 12-year-old.
Yeah, and to go a step further, that planet might have a dark secret that we haven't explored yet or don't know about.
Right. And this is another thing Kelly was saying. He was like, the things that annoyed him, like the planet being too much like Earth, all of a sudden intrigue him. Why is this planet like it is? And it explains something, a plot point twist in 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a note to talk about the production because I was not a fan of suburbia and Star Wars, but seeing the inside of the homes, those felt like Star Wars. They didn't feel too real to me.
Right.
They're very open. I think another problem was how new everything looked, and that in a used universe like Star Wars where everything's dirty, this doesn't really fit in. But for some reason, seeing it all together really did work, where it did feel like Star Wars. It did feel like it connected to the greater galaxy.
Right. I mean, there's definitely something going on with that planet, and I'm sure we'll explore it. Like everything's droids are doing the most of the work.
Yeah.
But then like the dad is working 12 hours a day. So it's like, what's going on with where's the give and take there? I don't know. I'm here. I've heard a lot of rumors. I think the one that makes the most sense is somehow it's tied to the High Republic. Like maybe they're the ones that set that planet up.
I don't know. So there's a couple things I wanted to mention about the planet.
Yeah.
The fact that they go for a test and then they get a job, and that's the job for the rest of their life. That's very Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
That's very communist.
Right.
So that struck out. And then I watched it a couple times, and one time I did watch it with the subtitles on, and when Farah, Fern's mom, was talking, she called it the great work, and it was capitalized.
Oh, really?
So whatever they're doing is called the great work.
Right.
It wasn't like we're doing great work. It was the great work. And again, that's just like, it sounded a lot like communism.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've also apparently there's somebody in.
Apparently, I've never been in Soviet Union before.
But that also, the great work also ties into the High Republic, because there was somebody that's what was their thing in the High Republic was called the Great Work.
And on the planet, they call it the Republic. They don't call it the Old Republic, and they don't call it the New Republic. It wasn't until they get off planet to that port that somebody said, "Oh, you've got Old Republic credits."
Right.
So that's a small detail, which I feel like kind of places that they've been cut off for 20, 30 years, 39
Yeah.
years. No, if it's 9 years after the Battle of Yavin, and it was 18 years after that, carry the one minus 12 was 27. I don't know.
Sure. I can't math.
I think it's 27. But if that's the case, okay, let's just go down that premise right there that they've been trapped for 29 years. Wim doesn't know about Order 66.
Right.
And so he's dreaming all these Jedis and all the adventures that the Jedi is plural. He's dreaming about all these Jedi, and I stopped myself.
He's going to be upset.
Yeah, people are screaming in the car. It's not Jedi. It's not Legos.
I know you're not on TikTok, but I don't know if they did it on Instagram or not. But there's people that have deciphered all those books, all those pages he's reading.
Oh yeah.
And it's all Jedi tales. It's all like
something
about somebody being in a cave and something about somebody facing another Sith. And it's legit Jedi talk.
Yeah. So he's going to have a wake-up call. It's going to be a loss of innocence for him when he realizes that all the Jedi have been killed.
You're right.
That's that coming of age thing that we're going towards.
And I never even thought about that.
The kids haven't seen the stars, so this is a very authoritative planet. Sam Sands floated that this could be part of the Empire, but I don't know if it is. I thought it was interesting where they talk about At Attin being a place of eternal treasure.
Yes.
And then Fern also floated the idea of mines underneath the planet. So I wonder if it's like on top, on the surface, it's rich and glamorous. Underneath, it's people are enslaved and they're digging for treasure, or they've somehow found a way to produce treasure. If it's eternal treasure, normally I would think that, I mean, like in old books and stuff, everybody goes searching for treasure, but then the real treasure is the knowledge and wisdom that they learned along the way. I don't know if that's what they're going with this. I think it might be actual treasure.
Yeah.
Since it's a pirate adventure.
Right. Now, I'm trying to remember, was on the credits, was it the Imperial cog that was on the credits? I don't remember.
I have to go back and watch that.
Or I'll pay attention when they show it again, but I don't remember if it was the Imperial cog, because I know the Imperial cog was also the Republic cog for a minute. Which that was the one thing that threw me off the most about watching Clone Wars, because all the Republic people are using the Imperial cog.
Yeah.
No, I'm really digging this. I think I tell everybody that have asked me about this, I'm like, if you were a kid of the 80s, or if you liked the 80s, if you liked ET, you liked Gremlins, you liked Goonies, you're gonna like this, because it's like straight out of all those 80s movies.
Straight out of Goonies.
Huh?
Straight out of Goonies.
Straight out of Goonies. It's also people
straight out of Astoria.
Astoria? Which is Astoria?
No, straight out of Compton.
Astoria.
Yeah. Astoria is the city and place where Goonies are set.
Gotcha. Somebody had taken the opening credits of Treasure Planet, because I think they took like the opening monologue and put it to Skeleton Crew, and it almost matches up.
Yeah. So speaking of Treasure Island, Treasure Planet, Long John Silver, right at the start, we meet Captain Silvo.
Oh.
And it's not a pretty, it's a horrible secret. It's the worst kept secret as to who the identity of Captain Silvo is. And I don't even think it's supposed to be a secret.
Yeah.
Because even in the credits, they name who Captain Silvo is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And if you're paying attention, Jude Law has been around for 20, 30 years now. He's a well-known actor. We know his swagger. We know his speech pattern. And within the second, third line, I'm like, oh, that's Jude Law.
Right.
It's quite obvious that he's Captain Silvo.
His helmet reminded me a lot of the Young Jedi adventures. There's an evil guy and his helmet reminded me a lot of that guy's helmet. It's very similar.
The top of it reminded me of Hondo.
Okay.
He's got that pointed hat, kind of like Hondo.
Okay, so like a pirate hat.
Pirate hat, yeah. And
Interesting.
he's got like I won't say Sith, but it's got a face mask.
Mm.
SM-33, you get the reference for that.
Smee.
Smee from Peter Pan.
He just needed a shirt that was 3 sizes too small.
And then I did do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, snapping my fingers and pointing at the screen when the holiday special popped up, the circus from the holiday special.
I didn't. Okay, so when I saw that, I looked at Mandy because when Narayan had the holiday special playing for one of the summer socials, she walked in on the grandpa watching basically porn. And I thought that was what I was like, look, it's from that. And I didn't realize that they actually did a shot for shot retake of the circus scene
with Circus Soleil people.
Yeah. So I mean, it is they went hardcore on that. It's shot for shot, and you've seen side by side comparisons, and it's legit because they couldn't reuse any of that footage because it was so old.
It's so old, and the camera angles didn't match what they were doing.
Right. So I mean, hey, way to go. That was cool.
Yeah. And I'm glad those kids didn't get to the part where there's pole dancers. This is why it's important for parents to be watching what their kids are watching, because you never know.
Right. I was like, huh?
Parents better come into that room quick and turn that thing off.
Right. I was like, are you talking about the holiday special or the one that
holiday special? Yeah, when there's the pole dancers.
Oh, what Grandpa's watching, or
Grandpa's watching it, but isn't that all part of the same show?
I think so.
Yeah, so those kids better shut it off soon.
Right. Well, I thought you were talking about when they were at the strip bar at the Planet, the pirate thing.
No, we're going to get to that because I want to talk about that plot point.
Okay.
SM-33 did mention Atolin, which is Chopper Base.
Yes.
And Aldani, which is where the eye ceremony was in Andor.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember names very well.
Do you remember the base where with like
no, I know what the points are, but I didn't remember what the names were.
Oh. And then so we would get to that port, and there's the 2 dancers in the brothel.
Yes.
One of them looked like Gargan from Jabba's palace.
It totally did.
And I'm like, is that just the same species? Is that supposed to be her? I don't know. I felt the same thing about Teak, and we'll get to that in a second. But the one woman that was trying to help the kids, my initial viewing was that she was just trying, because she asked, do you have any money? And my initial thought was that she's trying to rip these kids off. She's going to take advantage of them for a quick buck. But then I saw someone post like, oh, it's so great that even in the Star Wars universe, there's women out there taking care of the kids. And I'm like, I don't think that's the scene. I don't think we saw the same scene.
Yeah.
So what was your take? Was she trying to help the kids, or was she trying to help herself?
I think a little bit of both. I think she was trying to get the kids off planet, but also if she can make a buck while doing it, she would do it. Okay. I think it was more she didn't want them ending up like her.
Maybe.
Especially girls.
I can see that. I just didn't see that.
Yeah,
I could see that, but I didn't see that.
I that's what I thought. I think she was legitimately wanting to help the kids, but also trying to make a dollar or two while she's at it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think. What were what were your thoughts on it? I may have missed it. What you said.
My thought initially was that she was conning the kids, and then I saw someone say that, and I'm like, well, thinking about it, yeah, sure. And then upon a rewatch, I could see up to that point where she asks if they have any money, that she was trying to help them, and then when she asked for the money, I was just like, no, she's just using him and trying to get a quick buck.
Right. I think it was a combination of the both, but it, flip a coin.
One dude was getting Jabba the Hutt's tattoo.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
So that was funny. And then the final point, there was something else I wanted to. Oh, there is. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Okay. But the ferry boatman.
Yes.
A lot of people were saying that was the same species as Teak from the Endor movies.
Yes.
I'm having trouble seeing that because Teak was a person in a bodysuit, And this thing was like a little monkey that sits on your shoulder that's a puppet.
Okay. Maybe it's a smaller teak. Maybe it's a mini teak or dwarf teak.
I don't know.
It was close. I mean, it's just like people saying that the blue guy looks just like Droopy McCool and
Max Rebo.
Max Rebo, and it's not.
No, because Max Rebo plays with his feet.
Yeah.
So they had to change things up a little bit and make a new species.
But I
It's
think
fair.
it's cool. I mean, he's a good looking guy. It's a cool. I mean, have you heard how they're doing that character?
Yes.
It's like a combination of like 3 or 4 different things.
Yeah, they said there was an army of people working on the character of Neil that the kid stands in and he does the performance, and then they put a mask over him. Sometimes they use that, or a performer with a mask. Sometimes they use that. Sometimes they just straight up CG, which
Yeah.
I thought was flawless. I can't tell when they're using the CG versus when they're using a mask. I can tell with KB when they flip down the visor.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes that visor doesn't track right on the face, and it seems like it shifts like in a way that it shouldn't when she steps back. Like it's just slightly off that it doesn't follow her face right.
Okay. I guess I need to pay more attention.
Nah, don't, because then you're gonna be like the Leonardo DiCaprio meeting. That's what he's talking about right there.
I enjoyed all the Easter eggs that are in it. Because it's from all different, it's like you name a show, there's an Easter egg in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I as soon as I saw him pick up the compass, I'm like, that's the compass.
Yeah. Someone pointed out that there's the original Millennium Falcon design in the background at the port. So it looks like the 10F4, but with the Millennium Falcon's round circular cockpit.
Uh-huh.
And that's floating out in the distance.
I could see that.
It was on my second viewing that I realized that the big ship there is Captain Silvo's ship, which would make sense because the whole entire crew's there.
Right.
I thought it was funny in episode 1, the Reese character, was it Reese or Ishi Tib? I think it was Ishi Tib. He gets his face shot, his eye gets shot out.
Yes.
And then the next episode, he's getting his eye repaired. I thought that was a cool, funny thing.
Yeah, no, it was that was cool. I dug how like the characters that they want you to see or want you to notice, they linger on them a little bit more because like there was so the Snaggletooth was there. There was the Riri's. There was a bunch of characters, and then all of a sudden there's Urkel.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they do more. I hope that's not what his character ends up being. It's just a supporting character.
Yeah, no, I think he will. He'll have more in it. Because we're just seeing the they're just scratching the surface. And I think they've gotten really smart releasing the first 2 episodes back to back. So that way you see the first episode, which is always going to be a setup episode, and then you have a chance to see the second one, which is a little bit more setup, but it also goes into the action. I just hope that they're not 25-minute episodes anymore. That second episode was only 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm getting very frustrated with these Star Wars shows is the inconsistency in length.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just a habit of 40 years of watching TV, and when I get a half-hour show, it's a half hour. When I get an hour show, it's an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know what to expect from the X-Files. It's not like 20 minutes in the X-Files just ends.
Yeah. I mean, unless they're cutting it for like story beats.
I don't know. I just wish there was more consistency. Like in this episode, and I don't want them to hold it so like every episode needs to be 45 minutes so you insert filler.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
I just want good Star Wars content, and I think we finally are getting it. Stuff that everybody can agree on.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the weird thing. And a lot of people were like, are they opening the door the next morning? Is anybody in here? Because no one's complaining.
I did have some people on the TikTok, some people were complaining because they were just like, our Star Wars is dead. And it's like, yeah, it's been dead, guys. I don't know what you've been watching the last 10 years, but the Star Wars you and I grew up with, us 40, 50-year-olds grew up with, it needs to die. I mean, I hate saying it, but
I don't want to say it is
It
dead.
doesn't need
It's
to die,
evolved
but
into what it needs to be
it
today.
needs to, yeah. Say that again.
It's evolved into what it needs to be today.
Yes.
It needs to connect to a younger audience, a different audience. It doesn't always need to be for us. And if you want something, go back and watch A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back. And I know people will disagree with that and say, well, you can still make something for me. And yeah, you can, but it also needs to appeal to a younger audience.
Right.
And when you look at things like the Beatles throughout their time, every album they evolved and they changed and they grew. And I think that's what Star Wars needs to do. Otherwise, it's going to be a relic of the past.
Right.
The
Yeah.
final
No,
thing,
it needs to.
someone asked me, why did Jod Wood wait until the kids showed up to get the key? And I think he's an opportunist, and he saw the opportunity to, these kids had a ship, they wanted to get back to it. If I help them out, I can get to the ship and I can get off planet before the pirates know.
Yeah. I think somebody had said, and I think this is true, even though you know you can do something, doesn't mean you should do it. And he
Yeah,
was just biding his time because they kept the key. He knew where the key was. He knew how to get it. But if he was able to get it and he had no way off planet or no help, he was going to go right back where he was, and the key wasn't going to be sitting there.
right.
So he just bit his time, and as soon as he had a way off, and because they were also talking about their plans, and he realized that okay, these kids at least have a plan and have a way of getting it accomplished. I have an opportunity. Let's go.
Right.
I am curious if he's a real Jedi or not, or if he's 100% Jedi. What's his deal? But I'm sure we'll see that here soon.
Cutting back to the loss of innocence. I mean, it would be even more impactful if he was an Inquisitor or Sith or something along those lines. So this kid is looking up to him and then realizes that he's the bad guy. And he's just like, oh crap, the world's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
The Jedi dead, and the one guy that I thought was a Jedi is the Sith.
Yes. Yeah, no, I could see that. And I also could see him double crossing him.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, that's 80s TV right there. Or actually, what's going to happen is there's going to be a love story, or they're going to break up, and then there's going to be 2 or 3 episodes where they're mad at each other, and then 5 minutes left into the season finale, they're going to make up and kill the bad guy.
There you go. Show's over. We figured it out. There's no reason to watch Skeleton Crew anymore. All the answers have been solved. The show is over.
So who do you think, if you could like pick a cameo to show up, who do you think would
in the
show
show?
up? Yeah.
I mean, Vane. I think Vane would make a great cameo.
Vane. Which
He's
one's
the
he?
pirate from the Mandalorian that was on the planet that Apollo Creed was on and was threatening everybody, and the Mandalorian beat them up.
Okay. I thought that was the same guy.
It is. He's in the show. That was the joke. That was the joke. You didn't catch on. I'm like, oh crap.
It took me a minute. I was like, wait a minute.
I don't know how to abort this. Who would be the modern stuff? I don't know. Han Solo's got a lot of connections. I would always love a Chewbacca appearance.
Yeah.
Han Solo being a pirate at this point. Let's see. Kylo Ren would be 9. Ben Solo.
Yeah.
That's about their age.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Would it be interesting to see a 9-year-old Ben Solo?
Yeah, I mean, he could help him out along the way or something. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen with this show, man.
Yeah.
Have you heard the crazy off the wall?
Sabine will be on.
It may, yes.
Is that the off? Hera will be on. Ezra. Jabba the Hutt makes an appearance as Ezra.
Yes. So here is the crazy theory behind Skeleton Crew right now that somebody on TikTok, I can't take 100%. I cannot claim this as my own. But this is Star Wars version of Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine, where it's going to lay out. It's going to be the key to everything that's getting ready to happen. As far as they're lost in space, where are they going to end up? Maybe with some space whales. Peridia. And that's how Ahsoka's going to get home. Because then they have an intergalactic ship.
That's people making things and not thinking it through, because you've got Baylan Skull looking for the father and the son and the daughter on the planet, and you just completely gut season 2 if you do that.
Well, maybe he can show up. They can show up in the middle of season 2 and bring Ahsoka home.
See, here I thought, like Thrawn would be a good cameo, because then they make a deal with Thrawn, the pirates, for reinforcements or something, and they go attack At Attin, and then they get the money.
Could you imagine if they do something like that? That'd be cool.
Yeah. That's where I thought you were going with this, but then you went. And then they went, they recruited Boba Fett and Fennec Shan, and then they come and then they go to Peridia, and everybody's happy.
And they take a spice bath.
And then there's Grogu. Grogu's there.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good show so far. A great start. I'm really hooked. I felt like it was a fun adventure. It did feel like watching the Goonies for the first time.
Yes.
As an adult. And I didn't think it was overly nostalgic.
I think it was the perfect
blend.
mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, good blend of having enough Easter eggs in it to make you keep watching it. And then it also, with them having a whole ton of Easter eggs, would make you want to watch it like 3 or 4 times so that you could start paying attention to the Easter eggs.
It's a perfect blend of its own thing, but with a taste of nostalgia.
Right.
And so it's working. And I think Stranger Things is a good way to prove that there is a formula out there that works. And I think they replicated it so far in Skeleton Crew. If everything holds for another 6 episodes.
Fingers crossed.
We should be good.
Yep.
So
hopefully they don't spend 4 episodes getting off the pirate planet. The pirate, the thing.
I didn't see that happening until you just said it. And I'm just like, oh God, we're going to be on this port for 4 episodes.
Yeah. No, I could see them getting off of it in like half an episode. If they have good writing, they'll get off of that in an episode.
Yeah. Next episode is directed by Dan Lowry, who directed the second one. And then the 4th one was directed by the Daniels, who did Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm very excited about that episode. Hopefully it's not gone to waste.
Yeah. No, and I think the Daniels, somebody there again, I've seen videos of them, and they were just like, I'm assuming it's them because it was 2 guys.
Yes, that's the Daniels.
Where they were talking about how by the time they got into it, it was like their own clique, and it was just like them being welcome into, they was
Summer
flowing
camp.
very well. The cast was, and the show was when they got into it.
So hopefully that'll continue.
Yes.
On a different planet.
Yes.
Maybe Jack Black makes the cameo. Maybe that's.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? I think there'd be broken TVs if Jack Black made a cameo.
I'd rather see that than a whole new cameo with, like, I don't know, Katy Perry and I was gonna say Bill Burr, but he was already on the show.
Right.
Joe Rogan.
I mean, the good thing about this is they can go anywhere with it, and I think we'd be okay with it.
Lizzo?
If Jack Black's going to be in it, Lizzo's got to be in it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, are you okay with it? Like, I'm not really okay with Lizzo being in Star Wars because it's Lizzo. It's not I don't know. I don't want to hate. We're supposed to stay positive. That's what we say. Be a positive force in the collecting community.
Yes.
I've let it go. So much so that I've bought the season where Lizzo and Jack Black's in it. I'm not protesting. Let it go. Anything. Okay, I'm moving on.
Move along. What's next?
Should I thank people?
Sure. We're an hour into it, or almost. We're pretty good into it.
Okay. Thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to podcasts. It really helps us out and points people to our show. You can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We love feedback. We love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. And thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. People collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Sabine will be on next week. I don't know. Purdy will be on next week. Space Whales will be on next week. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way. Hey, did you want to say, you said that you had something to say about Rock and Roller Coaster. Did you remember that, or you just want to let it go? The Muppets.
Yeah, what about it?
I don't know. You said you had something you wanted to say about it.
I'm not happy.
Okay. I know you're not happy. Never mind.
Kermit the Frog's not happy either. I'm out of a job here. You've got some monster with one eye going to replace me. You didn't like where that was going. This is the way. Bye.
Bye.